No, you're not. Well, hello. It's Dr. Delicia here. Um, so happy Tuesday, and I just wanted to and just let everyone know that the book launch, the official book launch, is going to be happening tomorrow. So I hope that you will join us again here on YouTube Live or on Instagram or Facebook, so that we can really dive deeply into this subject. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Dr. Delicia Haynes. I'm the founder and CEO of Family First Health Center, board certified physician and medical student mental health advocate. So I shine light for medical students in their darkest hour, helping them overcome stress and depression. That's why I've been coming on and doing shows, and why I initially wrote this book. And tomorrow we're going to be going more in depth into the subject of how we can prevent suicide and depression, specifically amongst physicians. But it's more than that. So over half of the book is prevention. So we're going to be just kind of going through the book a little bit and sharing some of my personal stories. So when I'm in the exam room with my patients, I don't talk about my story because it's their time. But I think that sometimes we really need to share our stories because it's not always about us. We can do a lot of good for other people, showing them not just our wins. People here kind of know me as being the 40 under 40 young professional of the year, with the small business of the year. I was the Volusia County Medical Society past president. But those are all fantastic things. But they've all happened in context of my own personal struggles with depression. And so tomorrow we're going to be going in depth into that and into the book. And I just look forward to meeting you here. But if you have any questions right now, feel free to just ask them. I'm just going to put a question in the chat. Any question that you have will work. Just want to make sure that this this works, because this is actually the first time that we've done a YouTube Live. And I'll just keep talking until someone responds or kind of chimes in. But wanted to make sure that this actually does, work, so that tomorrow when we're live, if you have a question, I get to see it. Make sure there's nothing that I need to be doing. Let's see any questions. So let's see, where the questions show up. I'm not seeing any questions in the live chat. So let's see. So I just put one there just to make sure that people could see us. And if you are there and you can see us, and if you would respond to that, that'd be awesome. I've got some of my internal team working on it too. So we let's see. But just about kind of what depression is. So depression is it's a mood disorder. It's a severe mood disorder, and it's one of the most common mood disorders there is. It's often referred to as the common cold of psychiatry because it happens so commonly. And I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm actually a family physician. But my interest in this came from my own personal experience. So my personal experience really has informed. I'm a family physician, so I take care of all types of medical diseases, whether it's high blood pressure or cholesterol or diabetes. And oftentimes I'll have patients who are, non-compliant, or, patients who aren't doing well. And I can see that Chantel did ask, can I see this? And yes, I can see this. So thank you for posting that. So we have, patients who appear to be non-compliant. When we look into the reason that they're not taking their medications or that sort of thing, it's because of their own self-worth being low. And oftentimes it's because they're struggling with depression. So I diagnose depression. I like to give people Beck's depression inventory because it's a very easy survey to take. So it's 21 questions, and they just kind of go through and they circle where they are. It gives the person a chance to sit there and answer some pretty hard questions that you may not always, ask yourself, and then to get some, that basically a score. So it lets you know the severity kind of the illness. So, and at any time, if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask me some questions. I can see the chat now, so looks like things might be working a little bit better. And thank you. So the book you can go ahead and purchase at buy.thedawnbook.com. And that is for the autographed copy of the book. So you can pre-order that, and then that will be autographed and sent to you when they come in. And tomorrow, the ebook is going to be dropping tomorrow at noon. So make sure you join us back here tomorrow at noon for that. So we're just going to be really going into depression in general, my story, and some of the other healers that I've known, stories included, and really just diving into this subject that unfortunately is kind of like the dark secret that we don't talk about in medicine. So, but also, really focusing on what we can do to prevent, especially if you had a history of mental health issues or history of depression. It doesn't have to be your future, and there's a lot of things that you can do to help prevent that. So we're going to be talking about things that you can do to help prevent having a second episode of depression, or another episode of depression. So, and I absolutely appreciate that they're putting in the chat about buying the Dawn book, because that's where you can go to get that autographed copy. And look forward to sending that out. And it's for sale for right now, so make sure that you encourage people to go there. One of my goals with this book is to make sure that this information gets to the heads of medical students before they really join our profession, because it's one of those things that we can do a much better job of preparing medical students for some of the stressors that they're going to be experiencing and that sort of thing. So it's really, what I wanted to do is to help prevent, depression and suicide, specifically amongst physicians. But even if you're not a physician, anyone can gain a lot of clarity if you don't have depression, but you want to understand what one of your loved ones is going through, and just get a really good idea of what depression is and what it's not. So depression is not sadness. Depression, in order to be diagnosed with depression, you have to have symptoms that last for at least 2 weeks. So not 1 day, not 2 days, and there's different signs of it. And one of those signs has to either be what we call anhedonia, meaning that the things that usually bring you pleasure aren't bringing you pleasure anymore. So that, if you're someone who usually likes to go out and be with friends, and that brings you a lot of pleasure, you're not doing that. And then the other is depressed mood, that actually your mood is kind of depressed. And then there's some others as well, that you have to have at least 5 of the 9 to be diagnosed with clinical depression. So things like sleep disturbances, people with depression will either sleep too much or not sleep at all. We mentioned loss of interest in activities, having guilt or feelings of worthlessness, lack of energy, and that's what brings a lot of people to my practice, is they just don't feel like they're very energetic. And cognition, problem with cognition, so difficulty with word finding, difficulty with reading comprehension, and as you can imagine, if you're a student in medical school, that definitely won't fly. Appetite changes, and this can be either an increased appetite or not eating, and so you can either gain weight or you can lose weight, and not taking customary care of yourself. And then what we call psychomotor agitation or retardation. So agitation meaning that you have more physically anxious signs, more jittery, kind of just moving a lot more, or the opposite, where you're just having very slow, kind of almost sloth-like movements. So those are some of the things. And then the thing that we get most concerned about is just kind of having a preoccupation with death and even thoughts of ending one's life by suicide. So untreated depression is the largest risk factor for suicide. So that's why we focus so much on it in this book and just in my mission, because of the greater goal is to make sure that we live in a world where no one has to write a suicide note or feels their need to write a suicide note, and no one else has to read one. So I just want to pop in really quick and share that. We'll be back on tomorrow, and I hope you join us. Again, I'm Dr. Delicia, and I'm the founder and CEO of Family First Health Center, board certified physician and medical student mental health advocate. I shine a light for medical students in their darkest hour, helping them overcome stress and depression. And tomorrow we'll be launching the book, The Dawn. I hope you'll join us. Take care. Bye. So good.